Good morning. This is TV Xyz. The program is Morning Update. We come to you every day of the week from 6:30 to 9 o'clock. Exciting headlines on the front pages of the papers. Let me start with the Daily Graphic. The headline is related to yesterday's event. Eid al-Adha, the president, the vice president, were with the chief imam at the National Mosque Complex. And the headline here says, "I am committed to free media. President reaffirms at Eid prayers," and it comes with a picture of the president in white, exchanging pleasantries with the national chief imam. I'll show the page to you right now. But other headline story here say Akoto Ampao responds to Akwesi Afrifa public officers conduct bill will give effect to the 1992 Constitution. That's what the Attorney General is saying. So these are the exciting headlines on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. But many of you would say Anabnakra or him because for some days now you've not been seeing her. She's here. Yeah. The reason why she will not be doing more talking, she will tell you why. I don't want to get it lost. Nature is fighting Abna. We're losing a voice.
Yes. But Eric, but I'm trying. I'll do my best for you this morning.
I want her to defeat Yadiano. Sometimes, people who are very superstitious.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Obeka say, "Ana obina."
I thought about it. Because it was too sudden. I thought about it.
So you don't talk plenty. Don't talk plenty. But let me finish with the Daily Graphic on its front page. We have one other story. Owabi Dam needs immediate dredging. All these are on the front page of the Daily Graphic. And then government secures $34 million loan for Pong irrigation project. 110 investors express interest. And so these are the stories you can read details about when you grab your copy of the Daily Graphic. Now, before you come in, let me share with them the stories on the front page of the Business and Financial Times. The first headline here says, MTN is Business of the Decade at Millennium Excellence Awards. And businesses unhappy with delay in forming tax appeals board. This is an exciting headline. It comes at a time when many people are already anxious. I'm sure you know by now that tomorrow the finance minister will be in parliament to present the mid-year budget review. Actually, today there'll be some excitement in parliament because, the president was put on the spot when revelations showed that he's been traveling around blowing Ghana's money. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa at that time said, look, his trip to Belgium, France, South Africa, within 11 hours in the air flying, cost the state over 2.8 million cedis. The finance minister was supposed to present the full cost of that particular trip, which has been described as extremely expensive. Let me put it this way, the taxpayer is suffering. But he's not going to be in parliament to present that alone. What we know is that he is also going to compile the full cost of travels on chartered flights between 2013 and 2016. So equalization. And he'll be doing that in parliament. That's where the excitement will come from, Abna.
Since you're talking about excitement, seeing that lots of promising things are coming up. Now, at the National Eid al-Adha celebrations, our president did assure that government plots 1 million jobs for the youth in the next 3 years, which is some good news right there. Now, also, President Veep joined Muslim Ummah to celebrate first National Eid al-Adha in the National Mosque. MTN Ghana, as Eric has stated, adjudged Business of the Decade at the MEA Awards. On the back page of the Ghanaian Times, it talks about or is advising that farmers use more IT activities to enhance the farming activities as well. Now, also, U.S. Ambassador Bui Pura mark Share Day with tree planting at Damongo. as well. Now, the Chronicle is talking about a gun-toting youth who was killed, a 16-year-old boy. Now, jobs, as we have indicated, also coming up. Now, 200 Delta variant infections have been recorded in Kumasi in just 2 weeks. I'll enforce rules and regulations at Napa. This is from Hamid. And also, the vaccine probe is here. Now, yes, I should have sought for parliamentary approval. This is from the Minister. Daily Dispatch, which is my last paper for this morning, is talking about the Christian Perez Outdooring National Mosque, symbolic of Ghana's religious harmony. This from the Vice President Baumia. How police arrested alleged killer of JB Dankwa is also here on the page 12 of the Daily Dispatch. Dominic Nitiwo engages security analyst on matters arising as well. So, Eric, you can continue.
Yes, because you've lost your voice, and obey no soppy, because Ukasa Branco for no.
I didn't recall, you know,
you in the free hall. But this is morning update. We are live on Xyz TV. On Facebook, YouTube, just look for us, like us, and of course, what about it? TV XYZ. You know
our social media handles is TV XYZ Ghana. So it's Facebook, Twitter, and of course Instagram. And please, when you send a comment, do not forget to hashtag XYZ Morning Update, or you can follow me personally on Instagram is Nana_Abna_Sewa.
Hey. Underscore for you. Some of us social media, you Facebook,
you should try
or just follow me on
Twitter.
Instagram and all those
Twitter
things.
is actually interesting.
Very interesting.
It is. It is. They said Twitter is for the smart people, and Instagram is for the sleep.
Donald Trump's people. Donald Trump made Twitter very exciting, but
that's true.
There's something very worrying. COVID-19 is real. There are suggestions that we have entered the third wave. The figures are scary. Yesterday, the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana also raised serious concerns. Today on our show, Abna will be engaging people to find out whether state institutions really understand the restrictions, the president's directives or the Ministry of Education's directives. Now, the reason why I'm raising this is that over the weekend, I'm sure you are aware, not the weekend, just the holiday past, students in Kumasi went on demonstration. These are teenagers. All they've heard is that there's a directive by the Ghana Education Service to all school heads to go on midterms, compulsory midterms, for those who can afford. This was a short notice to the headmasters, and it went viral. And the headmasters were complaining at the time that, look, many of us are writing mock exams. So the GES consult CHAS, the GES give them advance notice. We don't know at this time. But we know there is a no visitation policy, because when the students were going back to school, the directives by the GES is that, or the Ministry of Education is that, no parent should visit because of COVID. So why will government, which knows very well that COVID cases are being recorded in secondary schools, issue a directive that all these students can go home and come back just after 5 days? And then the Ghana Health Service will issue a counter statement cautioning that, look, COVID-19 is real. And so we would prefer that the students enjoy the midterm on campus doing nothing. So if the students are going to be on campus, I don't know whether it makes sense. Now you are going to engage it. I know you have been doing a lot of digging on this issue. Did it come to you as a surprise or worrying when news came that some students of Kumasi girls were injured because soldiers were deployed with policemen to go and stop them from protesting because they are saying we want to go home?
Well, not necessarily, because I mean they've been confined for a while now, and sometimes, for all you know, some of them don't even want to come home. But for the mere fact that they are saying they should stay there is now agitating and making them restless to want to come home. And also, I think there's a fear factor about, hey, what if I stay here and someone is infected and I get it? I may not have it now, so I want to go home. And it's very confusing.
Yes, very, very confusing. But mine is that when GES was about to issue this directive, especially when GES knows the ministry's position as far as the protection of the students are concerned, the GES, knowing very well what has happened to Achimota School, and then recently the Ghana Health Services update on the spread of COVID-19, particularly the Indian variant and so on, the Delta variant. GES, obviously, if they are working as an institution which understands government policy and how it operates, should consult the ministry.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's embarrassing for them to issue a statement and then the Ghana Health Service will issue a counter statement. I'm hearing rumors that they have withdrawn that statement that, oh, the students can stay on campus after all. I don't know your mind, but let's speak to this issue. I'll now be engaging a policy researcher on education later on this program between 7:15 thereabout and 7:45. And we may be opening the phone lines for you to also share your opinion or WhatsApp us your concerns. Yes. You know the numbers.
Yes, so the WhatsApp number is 0556-999-999. The phone numbers, we would put it on the screen when the time is due. Okay,
so there is another interesting issue. The health minister, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, he appeared before Parliament committee tasked to investigate the controversy around the now abrogated Sputnik 5 vaccine deal. He had some interesting responses. I would want us to listen to the health minister, Kweku Agyeman-Manu. First, he admits that he should have gone to Parliament. He admits that, or he claims that government did not endorse this as a cabinet. This is what he told Parliament. Again, he appears to have said that at the time he was taking the decision, he was thinking Ghana first. He was thinking about you and I and the need for us to get vaccinated. Because as at now, as we speak, only 1% of the population has been vaccinated. Now, there are calls on him to resign honorably because every response he gave sounded very provocative. I don't know whether you have followed this on social media.
To be honest, no.
Because you were.
Yeah, no.
Let's listen to excerpts of that. Then we'll bring you the news.
Seek parliamentary approval before you entered into this contract?
No, please.
You did not.
Okay. Do you appreciate the fact that the pronouncement by the Supreme Court vis-a-vis the constitutional provision clearly talks about prior approval? You appreciate that?
Well, I would say very much so. But my frustrations to try to get a vaccine for us at the heat of our second wave, I relied on the Executive Instrument 61 that was passed by Parliament to hide behind emergency clauses that have been invoked, to try to see if I could do that and come to Parliament to inform Parliament that this is what I have done and therefore need regularization. I need approval to cover it because we were in dire need of the vaccine, and I had the onus to try to procure the vaccines to vaccinate Ghanaians to protect our lives. Honorable Chair, I must be very honest with you. At the time, I have mentioned my frustration was the fact that I seriously made that error, and on hindsight, it won't happen any longer.
You are aware of how we deal with emergency situations in Parliament. We have conventions and rules and regulations governing how you deal with emergency issues, i.e. appearing before the relevant committee and make a case so that the issue can be dealt with as an emergency issue. Why didn't you take advantage of that procedure?
That those were not normal times. And I was seriously in the situation that couldn't make me think properly, the way you think that now I will actually address myself to the situation.
Mr. Minister, are you aware that we have dealt with issues and motions on the same day before on the floor of the House, in this House? And let me give you examples. You remember the 1.2 billion and the $100 million from the World Bank? We dealt with it the same day. Couldn't you have done that?
I could have done that, but the circumstances at the time was a little bit different.
You have laid evidence before this committee that you used your best efforts to get diplomatic channels to enable you reach the manufacturer or the Russian authority directly. Is that correct?
Yes.
You even did so by producing letters as evidence of such correspondence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
you further indicated that it was after all those best endeavors have proved futile before you dealt with the sheikh. Is that correct?
Might not be correct. I dealt with the sheikh before the frantic efforts to try to get the vaccines from the right source.
So, were you being untruthful to this committee when you indicated that you used your best efforts to get direct access to the manufacturer and the Russian authorities before you dealt with the sheikh?
I can't remember I have said this. Anyway, what I said was that I made efforts, but I didn't just oppose the timing of the efforts that I made.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Minister, did Cabinet approve this particular transaction?
No, Honorable Chair.
Cabinet didn't approve this transaction. Okay.
They can't run the bill.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Minister, are you aware that WHO has warned countries not to deal with any other company or companies except the manufacturer or government-to-government basis, or else those countries risk getting substandard?
Okay. Thanks for staying. I wanted us to listen to the response to that specific question. Some are saying the health minister should resign. Some are saying he's attempting to cover up because he cannot take such a unilateral decision because the health ministry has a legal department and so on and so forth, and they understand the implications of what he has done. Look, if one of the doses was going to go for $19, that's one dose, and government was even going to import, let's say, 10 million, because 1% of the population is vaccinated. 10 times 20 will be $200 million, isn't it? And so that means that it is going to be an expensive decision. And the minister responded to issues about the location of the office of this middleman and so on. There are serious issues we'll discuss on the newspaper review on this particular issue.
Hedejome is on standby. But before I go also, do not forget this show is always brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water, Simply Natural. When I come back later, I'll give you the numbers that you can call for distribution, so don't go nowhere.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yeah.
It be old cargo.
Can I join you guys?
Yeah. Always brave, fresh, natural, X, mineral, water.
Still got it. Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center. I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many or Accra.
Sure.
Emission, check.
Alignment, check.
Brakes, check.
Visit Auto Checks at Koforidua Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much. Auto checks, check.
Auto Checks, your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
And in this edition, full cost of President Akufo-Addo's recent expensive trip to be made public today, but Finance Minister seems to seek some equalization. Also, pressure mounts on Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu to resign honorably after shocking responses on the Sputnik V vaccine deal. We have details coming up. Also, President Akufo-Addo cautions against flouting of COVID-19 safety protocols as Ghana's case begin to mount higher. We have details of these and other stories coming up. Please stay with us. My name is Wisdom Hedejime. Many thanks for your company. Let's begin the story from the COVID-19 pandemic, because Ghana seems to have started experiencing the third wave of COVID-19 pandemic, but authorities seem to be managing the concerns to prevent panic. Now, the latest adds to the strong voice cautioning to the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. Now, active cases were stood at 2,858 on Sunday, shot up to 3,124 as of yesterday. Now, this worrying trend comes in the wake of GS directive, which Ghana Health Service strongly opposes. Very small in this report.
On Monday, a directive by the Ghana Education Service to all school heads to allow final year SHS students to go on a one-week midterm break was shut down by the Ghana Health Service. A counter statement issued almost immediately raised serious concern about the spread of COVID-19, including the senior high schools. It recommended that all SHS 3 students should be confined at the school to observe the midterm. But TVSN News can confirm some of the school heads have ignored the Ghana Health Service directive and parents have started picking their words. Yesterday, the conflicting statement sparked protest at Kumasi Girls St. Louis Senior High School. The rioting students, who demanded that they are allowed to go home for midterm, were eventually stopped by a police military team deployed. Report says some of the students were brutally assaulted, but the police has since denied. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 cases continue to rise. Total active case has shot up from 2,858 on Sunday to 3,124 as of yesterday. 3 more people have died, bringing the death toll to 815.
Well, let's turn attention to Parliament, where Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is expected to make public the full cost of President Akufo-Addo's chartered flight in recent travels. He's also expected to make details available to the cost of chartered flights during President Mahama's administration. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta was expected in the House to provide full details on President Nana Akufo-Addo's recent 3-nation tour in a chartered luxurious jet over a month ago. It followed an urgent question filed by MP for North Tongue Samuel Okujato Ablakwa, who alleged it cost the nation more than 28 million cedis for just 11 hours in the air, visiting France, Belgium and South Africa. But he was absent and begged for more time. Today, he is expected to present full details of the cost to Parliament. But it's emerging time. He only begged for more time to equalize. Mr. Ofori-Atta, according to the briefing on business in the House for this week, will also furnish Parliament with the full details of cost of chartered flight between 2013 and 2016, when former President John Mahama was in office. MP for North Tongue, who is also the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, says he has gathered enough evidence and hopes Mr. Ofori-Atta will be candid, transparent and unimpeachably sincere with the House. On Thursday, the Finance Minister will be back in Parliament to present the 2021 mid-year budget review. TV Xyz News will keep you updated. Still stay in Parliament, and Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu, who is also MP for Doma Central, is under pressure to resign. Now, critics believe his I beg your pardon. Now, critics believe his responses to the Sputnik V vaccine deal, which has now gone bad, is scandalous.
You seek parliamentary approval before you entered into this contract?
No, please.
You did not.
Do you appreciate the fact that the pronouncement by the Supreme Court vis-a-vis the constitutional provision clearly talks about prior approval? You appreciate that?
Honorable Chair, very much so. But my frustrations to try to get a vaccine for us at the heat of our second wave, I relied on the Executive Instrument 61 that was passed by Parliament to hide behind emergency clauses that have been invoked, to try to see if I could do that and come to Parliament to inform Parliament that this is what I've done and therefore need regularization. I need approval to cover it because we were in dire need of the vaccine, and I had the onus to try to procure the vaccines to vaccinate Ghanaians to protect our lives.
Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu's admission of guilt attempts to fake concern about the plight of unvaccinated Ghanaians and reference to the Executive Instrument 61 passed by Parliament as reasons for his deal without approval by Cabinet shocked many who took to social media to attack him and the President Nana Akufo-Addo.
Mr. Minister, did Cabinet approve this particular transaction?
No, Honorable Chair.
Cabinet didn't approve this transaction. Okay.
They can't run the bill.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Minister, are you aware that WHO has warned countries not to deal with any other company or companies except the manufacturer or government-to-government basis, or else those countries risk getting substandard vaccines? Are you aware?
I'm not aware of this instruction.
So, what will you say to that if I give you the evidence to say?
I will take note of it.
Public interest in the contract for the supply of Sputnik 5 vaccines at the 100% inflated price shot up when the ministry and government officials launched spirited defense when the news broke.
Why didn't you take advantage of that procedure?
That those were not normal times. And I was seriously in the situation that couldn't make me think properly, the way you think that now I will actually address myself to the situation.
You have laid evidence before this committee that you used your best efforts to get diplomatic channels to enable you reach the manufacturer or the Russian authority directly. Is that correct?
Yes.
Critics say the minister, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, has simply exposed endemic corruption within the current administration and what social media critics describe as profiteering gone bad.
You want this committee, and Ghanaian for that matter, to believe that you do not really know the private office of H.H. Sheikh Ahmed Dalmouk Al Matuk.
Now, Muslim clerics have demanded bold steps to create opportunities for the youth, especially Zongo communities, to end the vulnerabilities and exploitations. Now, the national prize yesterday to climax the Eid Festival was graced by President Akufo-Addo here in Accra.
President Nana Akufo-Addo joined his vice, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, and the chief imam, who led the special Eid prayers at the National Mosque complex. The chief imam, Sheikh Nuhu Shaributu, in his sermon, called on Muslims nationwide to remain peaceful to enhance national development. In an address, President Nana Akufo-Addo said the economy is on rebound, a sign of good hope, assuring the unemployed of clear outlines of the Ghana Cares Obatampa program to be announced by the finance minister in the mid-year budget review tomorrow. The initiative aimed at stabilizing, revitalizing and transforming the post-COVID-19 economy to create at least 1 million jobs within the next 3 years. The president also cautioned the public against breaking COVID-19 safety protocols.
The recent increase in the number of infections is a source of worry for me and indeed for all Ghanaians. From the rising numbers, it is safe to conclude that we have let our guard down and we're beginning to live our lives and conduct our businesses as though we are in normal times.
We stay on that development, and the Asukore Mampon Security Council is on a manhunt for persons who fired live ammunition during the celebration, which led to the death of a 16-year-old boy, Abdul Gafar Kasim, and 2 others injured at Abu number 2 in the Ashanti region. Now, the MC for the area, Ali Duseidu, who visited the scene and the hospital, says a team of police personnel have been deployed to the communities to ensure calm and track down the perpetrators. Well, TVXYZ News yesterday joined some of the similar prayers in some other regions, and the following report we shall focus on the 8 prayers were marked at Sunyani, the Bono Regional Capital, and Community 18 here in Tema. At Community 18 here in Accra, Imam Sadiq Abubakar led the 8 prayers at the Daudes Mosque. Among those who gathered were prominent Muslims within the Spintex area and hundreds dressed in their best apparels who joined the celebration. Central in all the messages was the need to have peaceful coexistence, commitment to Allah's teachings and Ghana's development. Imam Sadiq Abubakar cautioned the youth in particular against violence.
We should stay in peace, love one another, share with one another, and know that we are the same people. Whether Muslim or non-Muslim, we are equal in humanity, and therefore we respect each other. As for faith, it differs from one person to another. Today, my message is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will unite all of us, and we will also exhibit that unity, because Prophet Muhammad, in his last pilgrimage, what he spoke about is the unity.
Paramount Chief of the Grushi community in the Greater Accra region, Chief Major Ibrahim Grushi, spoke passionately about unemployment and its threat, prayed for opportunities for all, particularly the Zongo youth.
Especially youth, nti enini ya hawni bi nti ya straight nuanum a omo good position say omo mbo ye manum a omo siso no mo sunya bibi ye no mo tumbo omo.
Alhaji Masaud Abubakar, a founding member of the NDC who spoke to TVXYZ News, spoke passionately about the vulnerability of the youth and asked security agencies to be more professional in order not to stoke the fire into an already volatile situation in the country.
We will urge the security services, especially the IGP, to fast track whatever investigation for that matter, so that they can bring those people who are involved or who did it to be, brought to justice,
At Sunyani, the Bono Regional Capital, the Municipal Chief Imam, Alhaji Ibrahim Mohammed Mustafa, led the 8 prayers. TVXYZ News reporter Mark Asante reports that the event held at the Odumase Community Park was heavily attended, but there was no representation from government. Alhaji Ibrahim Mohammed spoke strongly against divisive actions, sectionalism, greed, hypocrisy, backbiting, and other forms of vices. He said until Muslims see themselves as one, opportunists will continue to exploit them.
So Musi oya hasada oni obi a abro ankasa odininya ono se wo hu se ne yunkun ayeda wanyan koso na ye ne ya saa nipa we kan kire no se anya de obanyan koso nti ansa na man no banyan koso a ye nyina ye nyaden ye hu se wo yunkun bomodina obo no anase nkoso na wanya ye no uso feso anase wapen no na wabisa no se wobisa so a obekire kwanpa na uso anyo ne de ne bi ono kire se ono chese ne se obakan se obayeden se sa akura we oboko nanim ko ade a ena mi so makwa fa kwan bi so na okonechi.
Allahu Akbar. Now, counting of persons missed during the population and housing census, and the grace period continues in 26 districts, raising eyebrows, especially with Greater Accra having the highest numbers.
This car service cites the unwillingness of residents to participate in the census, inaccessibility of respondents during daytime, and larger than expected populations in rapidly growing urban areas. Critics have raised doubt about government statistician Professor Kobina Enim's claim that 94% of households have so far been covered in the expensive exercise, which cost the state a whopping 521 million cedis. They describe the reasons assigned for the additional 12-day extension ending July 30th as unacceptable, especially because the service piloted the program and had enough time for the mapping of areas, including communities with larger populations and difficult-to-reach areas, to inform deployment of enumerators, particularly in Accra, the nation's capital, which has the highest number of districts yet to be fully covered. Of the 25 districts where the census is still ongoing, 16 are in Greater Accra. They are Ga West, Ga North, Adentan Municipal Assembly, Katamanso, Lejokuku, Tema West, La Nkwantanan Madina Municipality, Ga East, Ayawaso West Municipality, Shai Osudoku, Krowo, Ningo Prampram, Ashaiman, Tema Central, Ga Central, and Ga South. The rest are in Swayem and Wasa Amenfi Central in the Western region, Equiapim South, in Sawam Edwejuri, and Equiapim North in the Eastern region, Ewutu Senya East and Gomwa East in the Central region, and Ketu South in the Volta region, and Suyanyi in the Bono region. Ghana Statistical Service is appealing to those who are yet to be counted to avail themselves to field monitors in branded jackets with the 2021 Population and Housing Census or the Ghana Statistical Service logo and ID cards.
And before we go, the Ministry for Food and Agriculture says it has intensified its monitoring to ensure that consumers are not exposed to contaminated poultry product in the wake of the outbreak of the avian flu. Now, the ban on the movement of poultry and its products still is limited to 3 regions. It's emerged that most of the confirmed cases were within Ungwa, Klagon, Lashibi, Community 25, and Dakuman, all in the Greater Accra region. The others, where birds have been destroyed, were Dominase in the Central region and Denu in the Volta region. So far, 5,800 deaths of poultry and 58,000 infections have been recorded. And that'll be it for this morning's edition of News in Brief or Morning Update. As always, do log on to my xyzonline.com for more. You can also follow us on our social media handles at TVXYZ Ghana. Morning Update continues. Good morning.
Ifo kra na menyisika edia ye mefui.
Ehin fa pa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre me busia ato taxi foforo. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodo bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekoko abosia, susu account, and it does all savings account. Me bada chain savings account.
and then the keka ho. Presuhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Now also what to Miaka say.
Suhum Rural Bank, ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank, entime pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Microfinance, growing with you.
Thanks for staying with us. This is the social discussion segment of Morning Update. This will run for the next 30 minutes. We told you we'll be having a conversation on COVID-19, GES, how this is being managed, the increasing cases. I want to share with you the latest figures, which is raising a lot of concern. So you would notice that over the last 2 or 3 days, we have recorded over 300 cases of the disease. So you see on the screen that it jumped from 1,982 to 2,247 to 2,512 to 2,601 to 2,858. And as we speak, the total number of confirmed active cases are 3,124. The number of people who are also dying continues to rise. That is where we are. Later on this program, we'll be having a conversation with somebody who has an interest in the management of this crisis and tie into the controversy over whether final year students were supposed to come home and if GES is actually appealing to the public as has always been discussed and doing the right thing. All these will be part of the conversation. But you know, on Wednesdays, we do our normal public education on health. Last 2 weeks, it was about dizziness, the causes, the effects, management, and prevention. Today, we'll be looking at hypertension, which has a relation to dizziness. And in the studio with me is Crispa Anyome. Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Ed is saying,
yeah.
Bibia Boko, dear.
Adam.
Dano, nipa ni bi catcher and say, Omunya yanka every Wednesday. Yebedin komo na say won kwa wontumi mfa ne saa na mom yebeka ne say ni nyina ka ho na eyeye nyame adom yensa ka wenne na the topic dizziness you didn't wrap up last week.
Yes.
Enti bonopoman de yesua ye ne say ebetumi aka obi a na eba nso a eye no no say obi a nipa ne etwa hwefom na modi nsuo hia na modi nsuo egu no so ebetumi kra asay dia omo eye to revive the person. walk us through Cheche Mukakra now wrapping it up, my.
Yeah, you can't about dizziness. Dizziness is a simple thing that Ubia feel say, oh, Manisu Chimi, and I Maniso, the accounts normally will not end it, Maniso, and I say, maintain balance. In brief, no, it's just spinning around. Spinning around, when we say Ubelusu balance, that's simple dizziness. And there were so many causes here about ear infection, which is very important. Obisi masuya obisi manya sinuses ebia ohema na moje woman ase obisi si utumi say wagina wache, especially security people omugina parade acheno but say because of they are not making any movement, you know, but say nani su chi no adenti emoja na say ko ni ti ho esoro ho no enko atale anase apulu do say is pulled down there in the calf muscles. And hypertension is one of the major causes the dizziness neba. Enti you can say ene you can be about hypertension to say Eric Akano. And there was similar ways and Crofita use they can about this dizziness. Obisio, I'm wobbling. Obisio, I can't balance. Obisio, I see blood. That doesn't mean say you nipa no nani na say you. I see blood no cano. It's about the same dizziness. And obibe can say my fainty or I feel drowsy. Ni na your words be a ebinum to be used to mean the same dizziness. And now obeshe Niema na sense so obehu say you are feeling dizzy say bia obehu say nansan wo kasa mentini ye wontini ye no aso na control nipa balance nti wontini ye na che say waso wo problem
but mami bi sa asamo e the Eric no make reference to ebia parade na sojenyi ana police nyi wato form na ambulance wo ho wa ma no do oya mmoframa mpo sompo okawan.
Yes.
Ebinum wo ha my experience be that there etina fa akro eri edwuma na eso original ho there epede ebia kafa bibi wo baby foforo no na wonyodo su kakra. Sometimes it happens for a second or two. Ni nyina aka ho na ono ye be hypertension related.
There be ni nyina aka ho na imprepi wontumi nkyere ne edisa anisuchi no anase dizziness no ebrel. Ti sese ne aka watran se ache. What happens is emoja na yedi afrusani wo mu no akopale in the lower limb and I say wonan ho, especially in the calf muscles. Enti emoja nso na de oxygen and I say enuane e koma wo brain no nti brain nyanya small reduction in that situation no when isu be chin wo. Enti and say obia and downplay and isu chin ebetumi ayo obia na time ben na onipa be come home hospital say manisu chimi ana say ena maka be twam no say hu say waso ya wo ya na wanisu tai chi ana say nisu chi no abe regular tem bia mesore fim paso manisu chimi kai hu say wo hu doctor ena kai hu say efie bam e bia wanisu chi na wo fi ena de ade kai hu say wo hu doctor ana say tem bia ya wo say wo be fi na wanisu su chi wa kai say wo hu doctor. And I say wasum obi so maintain noise and I say bibi ringi wo masum there be asori down any wasum kai hu say yare na wo yare say wo ko hospital enti enema nyina ma bobo so yi no ese utumi say utumi si ho kwan don't forget about omo nom nsa no ense say wo refie omo wo nom nsa bebre a untumi enye den imbalance wo ho. Enti then da obeye giant sanom usori anopa didi wo parade to say security for wo parade na wo ye bibia kan hu say ya kire mo exercise bia obeye wo calf muscles no to make the blood move up and down so ugina fa ko very stiff kan hu say when isu betumi achi hu na to say ne wo kan wo say obi wo te fa ko wo tra fa ko just about maximum 2 to 3 hours no bomboni na sorry na move be 1 meter 2 meters na santana say why
so ebebo ma moja no mu oye na in the topic no ye hypertension.
Yes
yenyem the cases no orokosor na in the everything na was a brand say we 35 years we 45 years was so ni BP no kosor na was waka baby na nka no na enyim de san dam yere be mmoframa nka ho mpenyimfo nyona waye mpenyimfo na wodi ho dwuma se sesia na join he na nyipa manyen rekasa no friend Crispa Anyome or physician assistant or police clinic na ende yenyi din komo afa yen apomodin na ma yebotumi yaye yeza hye ye ho din na yenyin acher. So mentum fraud doc Crispa for now no nyipa ni pi wata say the dizziness oyadza obotum waka obia ana obia botum wenya dam mankada yareba but the
yareba ho nsunsuanso
okay yareba no ho nsunsuando I mean America mafanta waka wuchi
mate
hypertension nkofati nkofo nyim hypertension ndama otum odeba nemum chekere mu inde why the ndama pia to sina nyimpa wanta ase na wafa no kwa
meda sibebre ya kan hypertension ebinum si BP ana se ebinum si mojabroso mojabroso ne de ya twam enye mojabroso moja na emroso na ne wom ne se check blood pressure yetum de wa kosoro na ye wo empanyifo de ana se adult bebia ese se yesusu a bebia ese edu ene ye won kola de Ghana ha waka bibi de enta happen to nkola mofraba na ade ya me ya pa wo yen health institutions a yen tan ye abofraba ba hospital a yen check ni BP ebre enti yentumi nyom ntem say hu de ni BP pede kosoro nti yenso ano we don't do that. It's rather giving us a whole lot of other complications because we will BP na say ntumi entreat e be ma other complications ye be ka ho asem later enti ene so bitie ye onkan hu say enema ebetumi ama wanya BP edosu yie but ye be bobo binom so na ya mamwate ase BP ye wo mu two kinds answer na American two kinds no mpanyifo no so bi say wanya BP a na che say yesusu eda he a whole lot of range mpanyifo de ye ebia 110/70, 110/65, 120/80, 125/65, 120. And I'm unkolane de no ayen tan ye no eya na eme ye bebre o hwe ye hospitals na and say obi tie me amesre nkolane ba mo hwehwe omo BP apparatus and say kafa ebetumi akọ mo nsa ho na wasusu no pepepe me mane ye de bia adwuma foforo a ye de ma hospital for and kola wanya ebia 2 to 5 years no
2 to 5 years
2 to 5 years ehia da ebe check ni blood pressure say wo check na obro 110/70 kan hu da yesa kola no wanya hypertension akola wanya 6 to 12 years say wo check no nya 115/75-76 no kan hu da wanya hypertension and excuse me adolescent no so almost yentan hu omo de
most of the time teenagers
yentan hu omo de no because yen check yes onyiye but bia wanya yareba bi a ede BP ne ebre no bia kidney problem bia woye kese akola bi wanya 12 years but uhu na obeka so openya wanya 60 wenum nyina nkrofo a ese ka chemo early and then detect
na obehia de se bia ma wo ba ebinum working de wo friend obolo na mabofraba no bibia nkyere do oyer obehia de se eya awofo a ebe hyeda da ye dwuma de periodically se we free ni bi ofi a ebe test anad boko hospital na wa hwe na wedi hu dwuma mo
na wetu se nim hu bibi de check na on how obi ho check na wo soro no ankasa ebe ha no na akoma yin show no ankasa say nya BP ni bi enti se unim se wuntumi ya esra wara awofa ko hospital o de ko hospital on be check na fefefe na hospital for no obi anim se obi a waye obese na so obesity na kola bolo na wo kan no wo mo na kita yare bebre a yenten hu a ese ye ni ko omho wo hwe mema a omanya 55 betumi anya hypertension Womo de no cost bi ani ho da ye beka da we na de bra unhu ne sa na kan wo de eno nom ne ye frɛ no non-specific primary hypertension. Beka two things about hypertension. One is the primary one. Any hwe untumi fa ngina hwe so ebia wanyin ebia wo wabusua mu enunti na wunya ebia wo kidney problem enunti na wunya na bema wanya 55 say kura minyayanka yebesa ya research na yate so because yetumi say obi 50 years kura no otuminya sa the maya hypertension and man de imprepi ajobra unti ya na omo tumi nyin kakra nsana omo develop wanya BP no
na me bisa asamo osande oya yetin sampi nkomo pia nkrofo wode tugwa BP no ana hypertension mepede nipa pi wa to ne din BP ebinom so so hypertension na obi wa wase nenyu age we emfa na we di lotto na enyije mbrodo nti na wase wato form obi wo ho wase ata asem bia de machine na wato form otum ba na oyo ana what I'm trying to say is that can something just trigger it for a period and then it will go because the microphone oyo ebinom say after that particular incident I make a test and maybe BP cost no echi no memfe drumanya hwe so I don't really have that experience
the madness test but in prep you know so see na se nipa no ebia oyebema onyanya 55 ebia 30-40 ena ebia hypertension eni na busuamu most of the time ena ebia oni kidney problem oni liver problem oni pancreas problem. These are some of the causes ebetumi dia ba so we need the problems so na say UBP cause ra and pray you know after we go hospital ya no wakasa ya cancel ni other no otumi back to normal and the matter the NHS say you are okay but once atumi akosoro at a time no kai who say any other time you get into such situation you know ebetumi asa akosoro we at the may call the second type of hypertension, no, just about 10% of the population. The secondary hypertension no, which means say no nipa no kidney disease. We na the brain no. If it's a kidney no, the major function our body no, which means say on a water balance and a control BP. Enti obi obenya BP kidney problem no kai who say.
BP nam kondra now yanka management because when you're there the mon komo yedi meji is there in 2 weeks time because you know the mon komo every 2 weeks now ya baba betuedo na yenhwe management because embre no wayetia say oban dama ibana na mon na ebotum etu oya binum say on china ugboefu ebenya BP ebinum say sometimes no ndama bi wo ho a wankasa eya ekenya ne yereba no so oban de wa ka kire de hwo hu ye anaso wo wabusuema abana mon na ode tu
se wonya te dem asem yi a hospital for anapum de adwuma ye for no won be start ayo counseling a kire o enchene bendi nchire bebre
enchene so onye diban ma onye da wo
the man ya fa ahye enso sanka ye de start o if you nkora brim omo tie ne nei ombenya homfa so so omo starting di nchine bebre no mo abeye used to nchine no se wundi nchine da ya nchine ma wa abeka se ya nyon se wontan no ma petition ya petition ma wa abeka se de bi me no
no bi o sa petition ya de pa
obi se petition so ya de won so say we den na won no ma wan nyinya wani enti obi an enti ade no wo de start o ho a you get used to it enti na nse
na ihunam no ohia nchine o san de
honam no ohia nchine but ohia we are me say member atiefo I say and I say nchine a onipa bia ehia eye ufa teaspoon na wo sa powder salt we a found safado no nya flat I don't know who here the whole day na hwe se wakodi meat pie nchine wom watonkosia mako no nchine wom na koko nchine wom when the more than
you obi so awate abom na ordinance afem also nchine sa na nchine
until you realize that you exceed the daily requirement a teaspoonful you use your hand to flat it. That is what you need for the
Okay,
hoodie.
so let's focus on management now.
Here can management and prepi Uju Hospital. Your major aim is to control the BP. My BP no better from near share how what causes it. Near the brain no say your kidney problem are straight. They start tackling the kidney. Now in prepi management no how what you feel. In prepi hypertension no unche den hu say obi se metiapo. That is how people die in traffic. People die in their office sitting down because ain't show signs there. But management there, unya bedu pe yenya check ya undua ya debe man fefe. Na we atie from kan who say, she knew why a friend of herbal medication. Obu oho, or say a bibidro, yes yo way, or say aoba moringa, and then moringa. Sani mani no to us in the hospital, no, we don't encourage it.
But what doing here there? Ebia the high level of indoctrination na wama ya adwen there bibia ofi abrochu oba ayi tablet no ma ya jetum there oyi juma because even mu say did that say on cherry bi obi say bitter leaf say etso ahata no be enuma na esia na epoto na the ginger kakra na the fra na enuma otum o cleanse wo system nti dem nsem di atene pi nti oya na bi no say what can see when you pim there ebia herbal product no omboa now why there institutions like Ghana Health Service on one year juma wa approve a number of these herbal products on the market and what say oh ye juma no one on them the way juma or asupiti na didn't wo pedo wo bogu
and yet them if you say ebia wo kidney na to chima na most of the herbal drugs so far okoha kidney because kidney na excrete and waste products. Tembia udi bibi no in my body na a kidney na yi tubu na se kidney no already any ahoden na wo fa kai who say it's going to give you more trouble. Enti herbal
so the best approach is
hospital no what to for wama bibia fe na wo ho ato.
Okay, it's a from pacho nyipa manyi needs in common or friend or Crispa Anyome or a physician assistant or police clinic. We are talking about hypertension management and possibly we look at prevention yes. Because yehu in zama ebotumaye yambonite kakra na meji is the pene bieni yesane yefrawa ye baba abatuado na inum nyina nature no aba fotu na dzebama obia osande moframa tumenya empenyimfo tumenya obi wo ho a nenze ye so otumedi yarbe odzeba
afutu kese a mede bema atie for ne say enkyere de ma Canada regular exercise obia here dey be regular exercise next 2 weeks maybe I will just give detail about the regular exercise and I say we overweight we will be talking about overweight in the overweight you know say bia why obi so why obolo they are all conditions that can end you in having hypertension and regular checkup once you are 50 and above because me can be there when you are 50 55 you are potential or you it's possible you can develop hypertension and it start a checkup once a year once in 2 years on surgery and self medication money be and I say omo indro steroids indro be a friend of steroids na ebetumi at the pressure bro ama wa be ye obodaya and I say obolo and it is going to end you in hypertension self medication and daily requirement for water intake no very important for everybody obia
on intina yana ye ejuma o han most de be bia e ka kire nkrofo de nsu I mean me recommend you very natural on ye nsu a what afrafrem and me is the easy majinado na ma kai for
1.5 liters to
1.5 liters na I mean manko school 1.5 liters no
nsuo sachet no nsuo sachet no mako 3 one nom nsuo the whole day kura mako 3 up to 6
bed them bottle e basa
bottle I know wo
them bottle me is the eating come ya koduna kasa na me
because say 500 ml na wo ma ehia 3 to 6
okay
They say sachet there no who there 500 ml, most of them are 500 ml. And you hear 3 to 6 a day. More than nanum nsuo no. Ena ensanom ni cigarette mesre obia ntwaro. Next time you can how the number of alcohol that you need a day.
Okay. Now answer na be mama abonete yen very briefly. Oya na binumo so say wako hospital what say one blood pressure ye low. And also yereba wa ba was COVID-19 say wa blood pressure or how menyemede mbre na etia. We say na won komokro bi so ayebedi afa nzama bi hu nti bonete low blood pressure even I do not cause what kind we see even I didn't be to my briefly. Na yan kai ne fan to do next week.
Yeah, can low pressure na low pressure bit me aba though when ye common na say ye hu there or low pressure unless you go hospital na you be hu there or low pressure. It will be antimi ntena fie no except those who have the BP apparatus no be check ma check me BP or ye low but we say ye low no in kan no unim wo pressure. So unim wo pressure na ne wa check bit me aka there e wo low. Ebia wo pressure water check and our hospital check him out no ebia 120/70 and then all of a sudden you were not feeling fine one machine will feel wo check here no na 90/60 and no a low ebe to me I say ebia why a fasting
another causative reason.
Yes.
Okay, na aha minyanka manyoba tuedem nkomo yado na embring ho Crispa Anyome ye physician assistant or police clinic. Na police clinic no ya na nyimpa pi wantase ma yinyima anye police hospital na police clinic say once wo ben ho a na won wo hwa abankrofo
police clinic ye hwe obia the public police for omoyenom and ye hwe minor cases ye can minor cases to say hypertension ye hwe oba ye be check up pepe ba ye hu there wo BP wo soro a e be ma akọ kasiem.
Yes, and that is the police hospital. So Crispa Anyome had a conversation with us. Topic in the is the nkomo na wiempo na hu na adza ye ka ho asem. In 2 weeks time obesana baha na ye din nkomo nti ono bosoro akọ. Say ye back even before the newspaper review want to speak briefly to issues about Ghana Education Service. One statement I will issue in some other Ghana Health Service one concern and COVID-19 figures are mezachra bibia wama experts wabo hu kakra da yanhwe ne ye ya will enter the third wave, which will create problems for a country which has only 1% of the population which has received a double dose or fully vaccinated. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Masa, tam Maria, because we could fly and we don't know what you're born again. Why? Have a beer, you can be
It's the logo the bottom. Where they say it's the local channels na mo and so pictures near clear. They are 5 times better. As in other channels that could be your hormone. So what I mention when I'm racking away. Oh, what the pictures. What a picture. kwaju AD plus decoder or multi TV and na electroland agent bia ho na show local channels na HD mu the here so better star 879 hash numbers from kubi box and now the activate AD channels na
get an HD plus decoder from now till the 9th of August for just 89.99 Ghana cedis and enjoy 3 months free subscription. Enjoy all the excitement and live sports action in the HD Plus Air Bosso Feely promo. Promo lasts from 7th June to 9th August 2021. Visit hd-plus.com.gh or call 024-243-9872 for more info.
Half a nose for good things.
Thanks for staying. This is TV XYZ, and the program is Morning Update. We come to you every day, 6:30 to 9 o'clock. It's a mixed breed kind of program, and then we have conversations that touch on your life directly, and of course we also look at topical national issues. And shortly we'll be walking into the newspaper review segment. Somebody sent me a text message. I'll say, oh, I was your there ekatria and yadi na Eric Canona why the one at Kakra. I know my brother Kakraba Etse is all the way in the US watching us from Minnesota. And I want to say good morning to you, Godfred. Keep it up. And I'm just happy that you are in touch with us in Ghana through TV XYZ. A lot of people are also following us across the country. And you may there say you boy phone lines, particularly on Fridays. That is when you have a feel of the spread in terms of viewership. And that's a good indication that when you put your product on our platform, and the patronage will be very high because of the interest people have had in our programming. This platform is actually giving them some hope that the media is actually helping them to be part of the conversation to grow our policies better for the way forward. Yesterday, news went round that students were on rampage. The reason is very simple. They had information that they are going to go home on midterms. That directive was from the Ghana Education Service to the regional directors of education, district director of education, to tell headmasters of senior high schools to allow the students to go home from today and come back on Sunday, 25th. And so many of the schools had already prepared and sent notices to PTA platforms announcing that they can come and pick their kids. But there's a psychological effect. These are final year students. When they went to school, the Ministry of Education said there is a no visitation policy. That is no visit policy. Mama wufu bia nkoho ebetum akoho mpone dedban e kama obaba to ba no emfa wanua emfa hun osende because COVID aba and majority of Ghanaians have not been vaccinated it's appropriate that when the students go, they are in one way or the other. I'll use the word on the lighter note, but for the purpose of them conversationing, that they will be quarantined. Nobody goes. Then GES issues a statement, a short notice to CHAS through the regional and district directors that allow the students to go. Can you imagine? I have been a student before, that all of a sudden you wake up on a Monday, there's an announcement that you are going on midterms, you come back on Sunday, and if I live at Sefiu or Sefia Kontombra, and also I live at Paga, and my parents are poor, I cannot come. Those who are privileged may go from today, and the rest of you will just stay on campus, unplanned. Then there's a counter statement by the Ghana Health Service that, look, there's no sense in it. Let me put it this way. Because Yereban Waba, I record Yereban Bio schools, no. Inti Nyanse Nim, they be catch them from the Wonka for Yereban Wofie, when we don't even know the spread, they are not giving us the demography of the spread. One corner, one bra. Can you think about those continuing as students at our campus? Then, because of them not that, let's allow parents to visit their wards at school because it's almost the same. Then that counter statement came. I've monitored conversations shared on social media platforms suggesting that parents are even disagreeing whether students should come home or otherwise. But some school heads say, look, one coffee, maybe out of anger, out of protest, out of the confusion, Then there was a demonstration in schools in Kumasi. Now, why year them from a way demonstration, the Oma and Kwani and Kofi. Now, was a soldier for what they call? Is that where Ghana is coming to? The students are demonstrating on campus. Girls, I don't know how violent they can be. Then there is a deployment of military and police personnel, and the allegation is that some of them were physically assaulted. The police has issued a statement. I want to share the statement with you. I'll read excerpts of the statement. Also, the Ashanti Regional Police Command has monitored the media space and taken note of reports published by a number of media houses are accusing the police and the military of assaulting students of Kumasi Girls Senior High School on the 9th of 19 July 2021, and the reports are unfortunate, false, and it's a fabrication. Then it gives a background to the information. Point 3 talks about on-the-spot investigation indicated that the students' agitation was due to the refusal of school authorities to allow them to go on midterm holiday. Point 4, it is also untrue that the military was involved in bringing the situation under control. The only military officers who were present at the Kumasi High School were part of a joint patrol team who were close to the school and had gone there to verify what was happening. In both cases, the police were able to persuade the students to return to their dormitories and calm was restored. If you look at the point 7, also to those media houses who have published these false stories, the command would be grateful if you could go back to the schools to ascertain the true facts. We are also aware of some false videos purported to have been released, and the incident is advising the publishers, blah, 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 and so on, to be managed and do strict proof for such publications. Then it wraps up. We also remind the general public for their civic responsibilities and implore each and every citizen to report to the police anytime they witness, know about, or have heard that, and we will assist in the investigation. And it goes on with some hot numbers by the Ghana Police Service. Somebody will ask, now who caused them? We'll be speaking to Thomas Anaba on this issue. And we are trying to speak to the National PTA Association. But before that, let me introduce one of my guests who is already in the studio. Wanda Madilo is a development analyst. Wanda, you are welcome.
Yeah.
I like your beard. I've worn it before. But when I go, people call me Oda, so I've pulled it out.
Well,
how does it feel with this white beard and black hair?
Well, I think it's just to make yourself,
you want to look nice. Charlie, but you are looking fine. Oh.
Thank you.
Everything shows that life is good.
Well, we thank God. I mean,
everybody, when you say life is good, you thank God.
Well, God has been great.
Some people have everything, and
some people
life is not good.
They have everything. Well, it takes God to have a good life. I mean,
thank you. So Wanda will be helping me with the conversation. Today, we are looking at 3 key issues. The piling pressure on the Minister of Health to resign, and his responses to the committee that has been tasked to investigate. The committee is here to put together its own assessment and make recommendations. Are those asking him to go over politicizing the issue? Has the health minister been put on the spot because perhaps he's shielding people who may have been party to this decision to go and unilaterally sign a deal with a middleman to provide COVID-19 vaccines? And all of us remember the spirited defense by government and government officials when news broke that instead of $10, we are going for it for $19. And even at that time, everything indicated that whether you like it or not, we'll go for it. Then all of a sudden, the tale changes that the middleman cannot even find or produce the vaccines. And then we'll also be looking at the same issue about students being assaulted and the police saying it is not true and so on and so forth. And national security issues. The Defense Ministry has met civil society organizations with a focus on security-related matters and other key stakeholders, experts, to discuss security threats on this country. We know that as we speak, there's a deployment of a special squad to the Eastern region, and they are saying they are doing anti-terrorism kind of thing in the Eastern region, and policemen, military men, and other people have been deployed to that part of the country. We know that long before concerns were heightened about terrorism and its threats on this country, there was some deployment to the upper region of this country. And so what is really happening? Are we all of a sudden creating the impression that Ghana is so much under threat that it is legitimizing the deployment, or we should not take things for granted? And we'll tie that to a lot of people who gathered recently at the LWAC Sports Stadium to look for recruitment into the security agencies. Some say it is just a reflection of the threat within and without. We'll be looking at that. Wanda, you are welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Let's spend time briefly on this controversy between GES, Ghana Health Service, their statements, rumors about another statement by GES saying, look, after all, let the students stay on campus. How did they come to you?
Well, I'm not surprised, actually. In the recent few years, we have seen a certain shambolic arrangement and management of our educational whole program. And when I saw...
So, Wanda, I told you we'll be having a conversation with Thomas, and he's on the line. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're fine.
I'm doing well. What about you?
Good. We are also doing well. Yesterday, at my last check, the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana was saying, look, if we joke, we'll be in a mess. The figures are suggesting that we are not in a very comfortable situation. I'm making reference to COVID. We also know that there have been rumors by experts who are in charge of testing for COVID or managing COVID who suggest that our intensive care units are choked. But there is the impression that, oh, we are not there yet. But whether we like it or not, more people are dying, more cases are being recorded in multiples. From where you sit, should I be concerned as a Ghanaian? It looks like...
Definitely, we have to be concerned because the whole world is battling with COVID-19. Countries that have even got vaccines up to some point are battling with COVID-19. Ghana, here we are, and the vaccines have not even gotten to 1% of the of the population. So we can't be reluctant. We have to be much more concerned. When you talk about doctors indicating that intensive cares are full, even before COVID came, our intensive care units were not enough to take care of all Ghanaians who needed intensive care. Not to talk about the upsurge of coronavirus that would really bring people critical to the hospitals and require special attention, not only an intensive care treatment, but high-class infection prevention measures, which is very difficult to maintain and very expensive to run. So we should be much concerned, about the rising numbers.
I've heard the health minister saying that, look, if we don't take time, we may go back to lockdown. We know our own attitude. Just recently, the GES issued a statement asking students to go home. We know about concerns about the spread in schools. Fortunately, most of our students have maybe stronger immune systems, so the recovery rate is quite high. And the Ghana Health Service said no. Is it that the institutions which must be seen to be really enforcing protocols or ensuring that you and I are safe are relaxing the enforcement itself? That is why we are getting to where we are not comfortable with.
Yeah, with regards to the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education's letters instructing to go and not to go home by students, I think the two institutions have to sit down very well and analyze the data. We're using science and data to determine whether people could move or not. If there's an outbreak in a school and then the Ministry of Health thinks that the school, everybody should be isolated or quarantined in the school until everything is clear, I think they are right. But if it is that people cannot go home while they are on vac, they can't just go home for just not wanting them to go home because they think that they may go and pick the virus and come back again. I think they are right. Just for 1 week, you go home and bring the virus home back to the school and spread it. I think they are also right. So the two institutions must speak clearly to each other and come out with one communique so that we all follow it well. But these bankers does not augur well. Yes, it is true. We are not following protocols. You even go to schools and you observe, and most of the children don't just use the face mask, even teachers and then the rest. I've even said you even go to some hospitals, and people are not wearing the face mask and they are there. And meanwhile, hospitals are places that people are coming with catarrh, with cough, and with even coronavirus. People do not care. This all is because our attitude towards the COVID-19 protocols has gone down. Some people are saying they are fatigued, and the worst of it is that we are not getting a good behavior from government to show example for us to follow. I.e., the president is John Ferrer, the vice president, and the chief justice. All these things dampen the spirit of people to continue the resilience they have towards the protocols of COVID-19. So I think these are some of the main causes of the spread of the COVID-19. Until it's eradicated completely from the world, or minimized completely, or everybody gets vaccinated, we'll still be battling with COVID-19 like we are doing. But let's work hard not to increase the numbers to go beyond the capacity of our hospitals. We know for sure, for every 100 people who fall sick of COVID-19, 5 of them will require intensive care units. That means that we shouldn't get our numbers, our critical care numbers, more than the critical care beds in our hospitals.
Okay, Doc, before you go, I know that you have specifically demanded that the Minister of Health must go home. The reason is COVID-related because he signed a deal which has gone bad. Why would you think that at this stage, even before the committee comes, people should be asking for his head?
Oh, thank you. I don't think COVID is not gone, so he cannot go. In other countries, ministers have gone. A minister in the UK recently went just because he embraced a worker who had gone on leave for a long time, just for a moral reason, not for a possible corruption charge, not for misleading the country in doing something wrong. But this man has done it. This man is not just a simple minister of health. This man has been to parliament for 4 good times. He knows the in and outs of parliament and how to tender in a bill and get it passed within 1 day. And examples have been shown in the committee that is doing the inquiry. This man has been the Public Accounts Committee chair for 4 years. And we all applauded him the way he grilled public servants when they misapplied procurement laws. So he knows very well. This man, again, is a cabinet minister, has sat in cabinet for 4 good times, for 4 good years with President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and knows how to send in a request to them to approve for him to get a deal being signed between him and a foreign company. So analyzing all this and all the expertise he has about procurement and all the importance about COVID-19 vaccines, and last of it is the most important one is the instructions from WHO that no one should deal with third parties to procure vaccines. This is clear in WHO's communiques. This man has gone to get himself involved in third party, and the worst of it is that it's not that he's getting it at a price that is accepted internationally, but for the price, refusing to respect the Attorney General's recommendation, because from what we heard, he was asked to partner for approval. He didn't. But he got a person come from outside, brought a contract within that same day. That contract was signed, and some of the goods were delivered. And we think that he should be free. He is telling us that he is getting confused. He is telling us that he is aired. What he should have just done is that, look, I've aired. I'm sending him a resignation letter. Continue with the investigation. Let's see how it will end. Then maybe go behind back doors and see how he can mitigate and reduce his punishment. But to allow this man to continue, who says that he can't think well, we can't allow somebody who is always making mistakes anytime he's frustrated to be our health minister in a situation like COVID-19 pandemic. We can't allow a minister like that to be there. We have to get somebody who has the strength and the resilience to confront any frustration and do the right thing.
Okay.
And do the right thing.
Doc, I think in one simple response, you have addressed the reasons why you made the call. We'll end the conversation here, and I'm sure as time continues, we'll continue to tap into your expertise.
Thank you.
Right, so Dr. Naba has made this point. We're on this controversy, so let's continue. It's related, so dovetail into it.
Into the scandal. Well, I want to say that some of these things are not surprising, actually, especially with the way the MPP has gone about business of governance and over the last 4 for 4 years plus, and it's getting worrying as we go along. You will observe that in the recent past, in the past 6 months, every day you wake up to one new scandal, and the scandals are so scandalous that you can't believe that these are people who preached and told us that when they come into government, one of the things they will do is to cut back on corruption so they can invest the money in the economy and all that. Today, Ghana is leaking so badly, so badly. And it's so disgusting that the sheer arrogance with which they do it is worrying. Anything the MPP set out to do in this, republic, I mean, since they came to government, that the opposition has red flags, that they went ahead and did, eventually became a huge scandal. You can name all of them. It eventually has become a scandal on our books forever.
To be specific,
you can talk about this one, this particular one. There's one. You can talk about even the free SHS, the models in which it was implemented. Overnight we woke up and the president says we're going ahead, and that ends it. Look at during COVID, the so-called freebies on water and electricity eventually became a whole scandal because now we're having to pay for it. The economy is struggling. People warn you, don't do it, don't invest in that area. Yet they went ahead and married you. We're going to cancel it, and then they put together a committee. Addison went to Dubai. Then we discovered that the committee was financed by the same America that you seek to cancel. So everything has been a scandal, from day one. Japan has been a scandal. Everything is just a scandal on our books, and it's getting worrying. And the president doesn't seem to be worried about the stain, the depth with which he has run this country into. He doesn't seem to worry. He seems to be very excited about running a very porous, very inept, very corrupt, very, it's so embarrassing. Look at COVID. This is an international issue that the whole world is struggling to battle with. There has been an international agreement or treaty, call it a treaty, that nobody buys vaccine from a third party. Only the corrupt Akufo-Addo government has decided to go buy vaccines from a third party and no other person. Is it not interesting that these are the people who told us that in 2015, when the American deal was signed, the guy who counter-signed with the Sheikh, for instance, Farouk, the same Farouk that the MPP raised the red flag at the time that was corrupt and was being investigated for fraud is the same person who procured this vaccine for the MPP. It doesn't make sense. It is sold in the factory for $10, excuse me. And then the cap was that it could only be sold $2 more, $12 maximum because of other, foreign exchanges and all that. And internationally it has been agreed. Russia was ready to supply to all countries. In the first place, the first dose that we got was even a free one. It was actually free. We were only asked to pay for freight.
You're talking about the AstraZeneca vaccine?
The very first one that we got. The second one that they want to procure. Look at it. But at the time, so if you have money, I mean, for instance, if I give you a free one, the Alibaba and Co., if I give you a free one, and I give it to you at $10 free, I didn't ask you to pay anything, and you decide to go and buy, and you are buying at 19, 26. I mean, where did we go wrong? At what point did this country got so rotten?
There's more to it. I'll be going for a short break. When I come back, the other guest will join us and will broaden the scope of the conversation.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many or Accra.
Sure.
Emission, check.
Alignment, check.
Brakes, check.
Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadrum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much. AutoChecks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
Check, AutoChecks.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yeah.
It be old cargo. Can I join you guys?
Yeah.
Always drink fresh, natural, X, mineral, water.
Thanks for staying with us. This is TV XYZ. The program is Morning Update. Don't forget, your WhatsApp messages will be read at the tail end of this program. I'm in the studio with development analyst Wanda Madilo. And I told you about the second guest, Ni Ama Adi. He's an educationist with Center for Social Justice. We've brought him here specifically because of this controversy GES has stoked and the welfare of our students in the schools. Wanda was on the floor. The conversation was carried over from the demand by a CSO on the Minister of Health over responses associated with the now abrogated Sputnik 5 vaccine deal. Wanda, you were on the floor. I called for a brief break. Let's wrap up on the submission we're making.
Yeah, so it's a bit disheartening. This is not about NDCs or it's not about MPP. This is about the health of this country, how much we're spending. Look, I tell you the truth. Look, the economy is in shambles. And this is not to say that somebody is not managing well or managing, badly or whatever of the sort. This is to say that around the world, almost all economies are struggling. And so you want to leverage on certain things that will not push you into the corner. Don't forget, around this same COVID, when it started, government of Ghana borrowed 10 billion Ghana cedis from the Bank of Ghana. Aside that, monies from the World Bank, the 100 million from the World Bank. Aside that, all other Ministry of Health short-changing, I'm going to say trying to use
$1 billion from the IMF.
From the IMF and all that. These are scary figures. I don't know if people get it. $1 billion is actually 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. That's what it means. Okay, how did all this thing come about? We agreed that we needed to procure vaccines. I mean, the whole world waited anxiously for this vaccine. Any serious government, in the process where the COVID outbreak came, until the time the virus came, could have gone to Parliament to be in readiness to procure vaccines. Is that not it? To be given a certain parliamentary approval to procure the vaccine, because the vaccine was coming. In fact, the clinical trials were done somewhere in Ghana. So we were aware that the world was in search of a vaccine, and in no time it was going to come. So you want to prepare for that. So you could have gone to Parliament. Finally, even if you did not, you could have still gone to Parliament on the certificate of emergency to say that, hey, listen, we have a crisis in our hand. Who in Parliament doesn't know that we have a crisis? For them not to approve this for you in 2 days, 3 days, for you to go ahead and do the vaccines. In any case, after all these so-called letters and signing of contracts, how long did it take the vaccines to become? It didn't even come at all. The period of waiting, it didn't come at all. So the likes of Haruna Idusu and Honorable Menka Kando, ranking member for health, decided to petition the speaker because no answers were coming. We heard that the thing was supposed to be sold at 12 maximum. Government was buying at 19. When the minister was even asked about it, the most arrogant thing he said to us was that actually it was going for $26 and they had negotiated to $19, as if he was doing us a favor.
But the Minister for Foreign Affairs, because we cannot limit this to, let's say, the health minister, because now he is the man on the seat. But I remember the Minister for Foreign Affairs held a press conference and tried to suggest to us that everything was done appropriately. I
don't want to go into some of this, the arrogance, of power. That's the one that makes me feel like throwing up. Because they behave as if nobody has access to any of this information except those in government. Foreign Affairs Minister, today I wanted to come and speak to this issue. Now, it was reported in the Norwegian newspaper that Ghana was doing an illegal deal. Now, why was Ghana doing an illegal deal? First of all, the two gentlemen involved, Farouk and Morten. Morten is a Norwegian. Farouk is a Dubai, whatever.
He's an Emirati.
Emirati, okay, you call it. These two people, Morten in Norway, is being investigated for fraud, money laundering and fraud. Farouk, the one who co-signed the Ameri deal, around which the MPP made noise in 2015 and was being investigated, is also under investigation for fraud. The two gentlemen that the MPP government decided to buy this vaccine from are all criminals, excuse me to say, quote unquote, under investigation. Why would a whole country, a sovereign state like Ghana, not call Russia directly to procure these vaccines? Then we go ahead. In all these issues, government decided to even play smart again. They appointed a company called SL Global, owned by one Atakweku something, Ayenso or something. And this company has more than 40% foreign shareholding. The law says that below 40%, minimum 40%, you go to parliament, even if it's a Ghanaian. The Ghanaian, of course, would have been 60 and 40. But as long as it is 40%, it is no longer considered a local firm. And so such a transaction must go to parliament. In fact, beyond that, even the sheer volume of money involved is one of the things you have to take to parliament for approval, because you will need them to grant you a budgetary approval in that respect, so you don't overspend, so you don't run the country into debt. None of these things were done. The president, in his several State of the Nation address, kept repeating that they were procuring vaccines. In other words, the president is aware of this corruption, this deal.
But I will come back to you. Hold it. Yes. I'll come back to you because I want to also welcome, how do you call it, Ni Ama Adi into the conversation.
Go ahead.
So, wonder was landing on the fact that the health minister was not operating in secrecy. Government machinery knew what it was doing. But he tells Parliament that he didn't get cabinet approval, even though he's a cabinet minister, and all the responses that you are aware of. We'll play excerpts later on this program. How does it come to you? Does it situate with those who are saying that, look, we should not even wait for the committee's report and it's enough for him to understand that he must go?
I mean, the big question we want to ask ourselves is, we have a country. Where are we? What did the president promise us about this COVID issue? How many vaccines are we going to give by the close of the year? Look at the ratios. I mean, he promised us some 10,000, some 10 million, if I'm right. We've not done up to 2 million as we speak now, which means that there's a huge deficit. And you want to look at the time between now and the end of the year as he has promised us. And like I always keep saying that, I mean, the president's word must be true and true, so that when your president promises you something, you can go to sleep knowing that he has all the information, he has everything at his disposal, therefore he'll be able to do what he says he will do. So when you begin hearing things like a minister saying he didn't get cabinet approval, a cabinet which is a member, a president who has promised, I mean, among his own people, I mean, are there opposition in cabinet that wants to do contrary to what the president has promised the country? Then it becomes problematic. Okay, it tells you that something is not right. Okay. We all knew where this Sputnik V thing came from. Initially, Russia said they were giving it out for free. In fact, initially, before then, we've all heard the issue in Europe where they say, oh, they've not approved it for usage, but we've tested it here and we said it is good for usage. Okay, and we have agreed to it. As a matter of fact, a certain quantity came for the first and second, the first jab that was given. If you are promising, I mean, we all say that if a blind man stays, he will throw a stone at you. He knows that its leg is already on the stone. So if the president controls the resources, he knows where the monies are coming from. He has his men, as we are told. And they just have to do a simple thing, which is not opposed by anybody, because let's not forget, this is a global pandemic. So I don't think that any member of parliament or anybody in Ghana, in their right senses, in our stead to make sure that the country is healthy and moving, will oppose to something that we know would help us, even though the myths and other things were there. But we're all for it. So where are we now? And what are they telling us now? So it's a question that we'll throw back to them. Now, what were we promised? How far have we come? And what are the issues now? They have to answer it themselves.
Now, at this stage, wonder, what are the possible suspicions on the minds of critical stakeholders, the WHO, CSOs in health, which are monitoring what is going on, the confidence that people repose in our authorities, i.e. managing such critical issues? Let me take it.
We have just confirmed to the international community that we are a very corrupt country, and that shouldn't be taken serious when we are in crisis. We have only confirmed to the world that we have no plan whatsoever for curbing this coronavirus. Don't forget, beyond this issue, from Noguchi's disagreement with the publication from Ghana Health Service over the figures, disagreement was also there. We also had suspicion about some lead doctors who were saying that the figures were being massaged. We also had suspicion about people who, at the time when the thing happened, when the president said he was distributing free food and water and all that, people raised questions about that. What is the motive? What do you want to achieve? None of these things have yielded results. As of today, I saw a statement from KNUST electing students to take, whatever serious, and that the virus has skyrocketed
the rise on campus.
I mean, and that the Veronica bucket should be filled and all that. Go to government institutions. In fact, go to the Flagstaff House and see whether COVID, protocols are being observed. Go to functions that the president attend himself. Yesterday, he was speaking right at the
National Mosque.
At the National Mosque. What protocols were observed in that place? That's a worrying trend. That's a country that is not serious. That's a country that is disappointing its, forefathers. And Akufo-Addo has disappointed his father, who was a former president of this country, or former prime minister of this country, disappointed this country, disappointed MPP followers, disappointed people who have voted for him, and disappointed the world at large. Because people felt that with all the bravado which he was talking, the excitement, there's corruption in government, we have money here, and it's because of bad management, or he has done worse off. Today, many people have not been paid. A lot of people are owed by government. Government owes so many in this country. I'm talking about domestic debts, and they can't pay. Indum has just got to court and won an award for $173 million for forcefully collapsing his bank wrongfully.
Million cities.
And these things don't bother you. When you were doing all this banking collapse, people said you have interest. You are doing this for your own interest. Government said never. You collapsed banks that needed only about how much? 9 billion
capital.
Minimum 9 billion to be afloat and keep jobs and keep the economy booming. You collapse it and you spend 12 billion to set up another one. Does it make sense? What kind of a country is this? How did we get to this level? Why is everything in shambles? The cabinet minister of health is a proper cabinet ministry. It is not subject to the president's, there are times you can rotate depending on the government's plan. By health, education, these are critical areas that are never out of cabinet.
Let me come to you,
approval.
Ni Ama Adi, Center for Social Justice, typical think tank or civil society organization. In the narratives, you don't get a concerned president about some of these issues Wanda has raised. Yesterday, for example, he spoke to issues about media and abuse by journalists at a time when Parliament is supposed to be investigating its own key member of Parliament for utterances that's supposed to be inciting the public related to the concerns he raised. And so it appears as if government really doesn't see that the things Wanda is talking about is wrong.
I mean, that's the worrying thing, because I mean, if you have monitored social media in the last 3 days, people have started sending petitions around to sign for the removal of the honorable member of parliament from the committee that it serves. Because if you have a committee that is responsible for the protection of the people,
that's defense
and interior
as chair,
and you make such utterances from the background of a previous utterance that you've made, which ended up in the alleged death of a journalist, then it calls for worrying. Okay, it calls for worrying. And these are the issues that people have continuously said that the president has been silent on.
Can it be deliberate? Because I'm taking this particular question from the reference you have made. There's a member of parliament. Ghanaians are aware of his actions.
Yes, of course.
Publicly.
I mean, several
ones. And
then
he's made the chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. Could there be a motive?
I mean, there's a school. I mean, you are not wrong to think that it is intentional, because the person comes with a certain posture that, look, I can do it, I mean, he says, I mean, I've listened to him where he said that, I mean, if he's given certain opportunities, some people who mess up, you give them flying kicks and all here and there. It shows a certain posture. I don't know if that's what inspired them to have given him that position, but we don't need that, because you know that when people apply for us, people can apply equally or more higher force.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. Because if I mean, you can't slap somebody in equal measure. You either slap you harder or lower. And in this case, they can slap harder when people are incensed. Okay? So knowing certain utterances that he has made, including kill certain people, which was an issue in court. Kill certain people when you meet them, kill them everywhere when you meet them. It was an issue, a big issue in court. We can't pretend to have forgotten. He made certain statements about Ahmed Swale, which we all know, which is still a subject of discussion, a subject of investigation. To the extent that even when he went to America, he was held by the securities there for investigations about that. International media organizations, World Press Freedom, everything have spoken to the issue and have called on our government to investigate thoroughly and come up with a conclusive decision on what happened. Same person comes again saying that somebody has reported wrongly. And we all know the channels of addressing grievances or such issues. The National Media Commission is there. You can even go to court. You have everything at your disposal, and particularly as a member, a chairman of the Defense Committee in Parliament, which sees to the security of the country. You can call him before Parliament. I mean, you just report to the Speaker of Parliament. He's hauled before Privileges Committee or whatever it is, and then the person is questioned. So there are many ways to do that. Okay. But when we go on the aggressive mood that if I had a chance, I would have done this to this person, it is not proper.
Okay, so...
and we expect that the president would have spoken something about it. But to have diverted from the question and speaking generally, as if it's a general thing, when there's a specific issue to address, it's a problem.
Okay, Wanda will be speaking briefly to same issue. But I just want you to have just a little from what happened in Parliament, just about 2 minutes of a tip on the health minister's responses to some very critical questions. And this time, we want to commend members on the committee and how instructive some of those questions were. Let's listen.
Anyway, what I said was that I made efforts, but I didn't just oppose the timing of the efforts that I made.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Minister, did Cabinet approve this particular transaction?
No, Honorable Chair.
Cabinet didn't approve this transaction. Okay.
You can't run the
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Minister, are you aware that WHO has warned countries not to deal with any other company or companies except the manufacture of government-to-government basis, or else those countries risk getting substandard vaccines? Are you aware?
I'm not aware of this instruction.
So, what will you say to that if I give you the evidence to say?
I will take note of it.
So, you want this committee and Ghanaian for that matter to believe that you do not really know the private office of H.H. Sheikh Ahmed Dalmouk Al Matuk?
The question will have to be, I don't understand it properly. What do you mean by, do I know the private office? I'm looking for supply of vaccines. Somebody comes and offers that we can help you get vaccines. They rushed down because I was looking for 4 things to be able to get me vaccines. 1, availability. 2, pricing. 3, efficiency and efficacy. The efficiency and efficacy portion has been done by the FDA in Ghana already at that time. And therefore, my next priority thing was availability, because across the globe, you couldn't get a vaccine from anywhere. So when I got information that somebody has it in Dubai and they can supply you, I didn't have option then to ask for him to show availability of the stocks he claims he can sell to me.
Minister, My question is, do you agree with me that a percentage of the total value of the LC issued in the name of the private office of the Sheikh passes as charges to the banks?
You mean bank charges? I will not agree with you.
So, are you telling this committee that upon raising the LC, you didn't pay any bank charges?
You will have paid bank charges on the 300,000 order for which LC was raised.
So at least Ghana has committed something, isn't it?
Sure.
Now, you have submitted to this committee. This committee was constituted on the 9th of July. And you brought a letter dated 14th of July telling us that the Sheikh has pulled out of the contract. Now, he has supplied 20,000 doses of Sputnik 5. Will you agree with me that Ghana has an obligation?
Honorable Chair, I think I've mentioned this already. That we have an obligation.
So that was Kobna Menta Akando. If you follow us on our YouTube and Facebook pages, I'm sure you have the excerpts that we've put together. And that was Kobna Menta Akando, the ranking on the Health Committee of Parliament, with the last question of what we have packaged for you. Your concluding comments on even what we have put out. The man tries to justify why he went into the deal, saying that even if I don't know his office, I was in a hurry. He came to my office, demonstrated that he could supply the vaccines, and that was enough for me to go into a unilateral decision.
I mean, if you ask me, all said, having said everything, whatever he said, whatever the president have said, whatever anybody else have said, the scale of measure is that our president has assured us we're going to vaccinate 10 million people by the close of the year. We want to see the roadmap to the 10 million people. Right. Let's see what will happen. That will be our measure.
Wonder briefly, your concluding remark. If you can
my concluding remark is simple. Jail this riffraff, excuse me. Put on quote.
It's not too harsh.
It's not too harsh. You're talking about lives of Ghanaians. You are talking about millions of dollars being lost. You are talking about somebody who has taken a very reckless decision. You are talking about somebody who is a former public accounts committee chair
but
in Parliament.
The contract was abrogated after all.
No, hang on. No. You heard the ranking member say that the committee was formed on the 9th of July. He brought a letter on the 14th of July that the Sheikh had pulled out. The Sheikh did not pull out. What happened was that Russia got wind of the middlemen and decided to cut off supply to all middlemen, or cut off supply to people who are, shortchanging the official manufacturer. If I manufacture a vaccine for $10 and you go to sell it for $19, why? Where did I go wrong?
Somebody's benefiting.
Now, who is benefiting? There's a middleman. So Russia actually cut off supply to the middleman. So it's not as if the Sheikh actually stated that he couldn't find the vaccine and that the vaccine was in shortage. So it's not as if he pulled out because he felt the deal was wrong or anything of the sort.
So basically,
he pulled out because
gone wrong.
Yes, the profiteering gone wrong.
All right. So
and I think that we must jail this guy. This guy must be hauled before the court. The president must have the balls. He must be bold. He must be confident enough to take this guy to court. This guy should not be allowed to walk on the corridors of power.
I understand.
In the name of this.
Guy doesn't mean it's an inappropriate language, but we know him. So the health minister.
The health minister.
Right.
I want to accord him that respect. The health minister.
Right.
This is absolutely wrong.
Wonder, we'll stop there. We have less than 19 minutes, and of course, because we have somebody who has an appreciation of how we are managing our education sector here, it will be inappropriate if you don't also narrow the conversation to those issues. Now, you are an educationist, Center for Social Justice. How did you find the latest involving students, COVID-19, management of students on campus, Ghana Health Services concerned?
I managed the whole process wrongly. And again, to come back to the Minister for Health, because I mean, you can't talk about COVID-19 and dissociate it from the Minister for Health. Let us not forget, and for those of us who remember clearly, during his vetting, he made certain pronouncements that 2 companies have submitted samples of the
vaccine,
of the rapid response test kits, and the FDA is undergoing the
assessment.
The assessments, and that is sure in 1 week from the time he's speaking, FDA would have cleared those test kits, and they will be available everywhere for us to rapidly test our status. Because in other countries, which I have experienced as I speak to you, if you are going into a crowd, aren't we going on a huge speculation? Because, I mean, how many students have we tested? For which reason we say what we say? Okay, it must be justifiable. That is 1. 2, there are still day students who commute from the house to the school every day. It doesn't stop. After this morning, go around the secondary schools in this community and find out whether there are no day students. Go to Laboni. I mean, we have a lot of schools close to us. Go to Laboni, which is